Hotel cleaners of Reddit, what's your most memorable find left behind by a guest? My friend's family owns a motel. He tells me they once found an auto transmission in the bathtub of a room. Odd place for a rebuild. Just giving it the weekly bath. They must have noticed a slight problem as they drove off. Passion of cars know no limits of place. Yes, I've heard of this before. You go to the town on a bachelor party, take a pill and then wake up and your transmission is in the bathtub full of ice and third gear was removed. Almost tased myself with the tube of lipstick that I found under the bed. So nobody's talking about this person using hotel bed lipstick. Almost tased doesn't imply they were trying to use it. Just like I wasn't trying to spray myself in the face with mace as a kid. These things happen. Edit. The amount of response is surprising to me and also very validating. Please, by all means, everyone keep sharing their stories. Don't you love it when you feel endangered by yourself? The best is when you smack your head really hard and you get all angry like your brain wants you to punch whomever did that and then you realize it's you and you already hit that butthole. Found one on the street as a teen. I knew better than to actually press the button as I didn't want to risk it blowing in my face. I instead must have touched the top or spray nozzle enough apparently that some spray got on my fingers. 15 minutes later I go to rub my eyes and the burn begins. 3 empty bottles of wine, about 2 dozen cherry pits scattered all over the floor and under the furniture, and red-colored puke all over the bedspread. There was only one guy staying in the room. Well, yeah, one guy by the time it was done. Had a room like this a few weeks ago. 2 boys aged 18 with a bunch of booze and cigarettes, left vomit all over the beds, toilet, and sink. I was scared the room would smell like vomit, but it didn't because they smoked so much. They ran off through the emergency exit, which should not have been possible. Luckily, one of them left their ID behind, so the manager contacted him so he could come and get it back, but only after paying the fine. I think the worst part is when my manager told him how unacceptable it was how they left the room behind and he replied, "Isn't that what cleaners are for? Little piece of crap." How do you get rooms to stop smelling like vomit when the windows don't open? Smoke in them. If you don't smoke you could always just crap in the closet. They ran off through the emergency exit, which should not have been possible. Either something got lost in translation or one of us is unaware of the reason for emergency exits. The emergency exit probably has an alarm that goes off when opened, and in this particular case it did not go off. We found a crapload of wine bottles in a suite we had. They were in the second room that was set up as a meeting room. Stuffed between the couch cushions was an ID tag from the previous conference. It was some big regional AA meeting. Found a human poo in the kettle once. Worst part was it was a celebrity, crappy UK reality show, doing a guest appearance at a local club. Him and his mates filled the room's iPad with dick pics too. Hotel got rid of the iPad shortly after that. The kettle too, I hope. No buttholes here, just give it a quick rinse. Boiling water is going to kill anything dangerous anyway. There is a turd in my tea. Yeah, no worries, I boiled the water thoroughly. Who was it? Name and shame. Queen Elizabeth. A royal flush beats everything else. A gun, in Australia. Jesus. That's expensive. On the positive side, some Aussies who left me a 12-pack of beer and $50 as a tip. On the negative side, a room for 2 which had been occupied by 9. And on the get some side, a room checked out for one night that the next morning had about 6 or 7 used condoms in the trash can. At least they were in the trash can. Yay, could have been in a kettle. That's a whole different kettle of condoms. I wonder if they were all used by one man. Edit. The reason I said one man is I was wondering whether it was one or several men. Not whether a man or woman paid the room. It's possible that it was switching between anal and vaginal sex during a marathon session rather than 6 or 7 busted nuts. I didn't even think about that. Straya mate. F yeah mate. Nothing weird about effing in a one-night rental. I don't even see the issue here, they put them in the trash can. Is sex prohibited at hotels or something? I think it's more about the fact he managed to come 6 to 7 times in one night. Not if there's 7 dudes. Bloody Queenslanders. Oh, I have 2 good ones. I worked as a hotel cleaner during undergrad. My first day of work, someone left a hatchet in the bathtub. Also, someone completely decorated the room with framed family pictures. And left them all there. I think their stay was only 2 days. They set some up on the furniture. But also legit hung some on the walls. That's very odd. I really hope something terrible didn't happen to them. Some poor kid left his Game Boy. Sex toys were fairly common. But there was one left in the spa tub once. It was bigger than a 20-ounce bottle both in length and girth. Do you guys not call guests if they forgot expensive items like a Game Boy? I am so glad you chose to end that question with the Game Boy and not the dildo. People will absolutely call and pick up their dildos. Hey brah, that crap can cost more than a Game Boy. It's platinum silicone. As someone who recently got into casting platinum cure silicone, I can see why it's so expensive. Not only is the material expensive, but it's really difficult to get a quality product without any bubbles or flashing, seeping into the seam between the mold halves. The stuff is 2 parts that have to be mixed independently due to settling, and then mixed in equal parts by weight, then vacuum degassed. All the while, you have to avoid any contamination that may cause cure inhibition, which results in the silicone having a tacky feel or just not solidifying at all. And I haven't even figured out how to make a mold that results in a glossy finish, or how to seal the mold to prevent flashing, let alone prevent a seam at all. So yay. Expensive material and expensive skill to work with it. A friend of mine once left her vibe in an Airbnb and the owner of the house called her and said, "Hey, I think you left your toy here," super nonchalantly, so my friend just drove back and got it. Probably knew how expensive it was and didn't want a fellow woman to lose out. I specifically did it that way to avoid any nonsense like that, haha. We store everything for 3 months. If they call in that time, they can either come pick it up or pay to have it posted back to them, but if they haven't called in 3 months, then it's ours. So who got to keep the giant dildo? It is now a communal use item in the staff break room. Most popular seat in the break room. A few questions. Did it still work? Did it need batteries or did it already have some? Did you get to play with it? Did anyone ever claim it? Had you ever played with one before or did you have to learn how? Did you have any games for it? Was it the original or the mini version? Edit. Scratch that last question. I see that you stated it was bigger than a 20 ounces bottle. It needed 4 liters of diesel by the sounds of it. My partner gets apartments ready for the next people renting them out after leases are up. They found so many BDSM toys. One of which, a flogger, is my cat's favorite toy over all others now, including her very expensive cat toys, haha. I would imagine that flogger is probably your cat's most expensive toy now. Well crap, you might be right, haha. Do people ever call back to ask about the toys? Or, alternatively, does your partner call them? My partner definitely doesn't call them, and as far as we know the apartment complex hasn't ever had a call trying to get their toys. I feel like in the situation of you accidentally leaving bondage gear and dildos around the place you've just moved out of, you'd probably just be like, "Aw shucks," rather than deal with the shame. Or rather, F it. I do maintenance. Had a group of part-time housekeepers that are mentally handicapped working with their job coach go into a suite with adjoining door. There were 3 construction workers staying, 2, and their supervisor. In the one side with a pull-out couch and DVD player, they found a full-size blow-up doll, empty small bottles of lube, used condoms, several beer bottles, and a stack of porn on DVD. Doll was on the pull-out couch and everything else was all over the bed. Only thing pulling out is the couch. Not a hotel cleaner, but every time I check into a hotel, I check between the mattress and the box spring. I found business cards for strip clubs, condom wrappers, 4 of them at once, one time, needles, and porn. Hoping for stashed cash from a bank job, but no luck yet. Your discovery of needles instantly cured me of any desire to do that check myself. No, you should absolutely check, because you might find bedbugs instead. Bedbugs spread so easy and are so near impossible to get rid of, you do not under any circumstances want to sleep on a mattress with bedbugs. I found cash in the room Bible once. I was just emptying out the drawer to use and $80 fell out. Some of the Bibles have an index in suggesting which pages to turn to for guidance, abuse problems, lustful thoughts, that kind of thing. We put a condom on the lustful thoughts page. I used to travel a lot. I used to sign keep on truckin', love Jesus on the Bibles. Oh man, I finally found another one. I thought I was the only one who writes personal notes to the next person and signs it from Jesus. I usually inscribe them to a random name that pops in my head, hoping that at some point Steve or Sue will open it and freak out. You should probably reevaluate your choice in hotels. I think it was late 90s, maybe early 00s, radio talk show Bob and Tom talked about always checking under mattress for porn. This temporarily increased the amount of porn that we found in the hotel. I work in TV and one time was setting up for an interview with a rock band who was staying at the hotel where the bar was. I moved the couch to maximize the nice window light and revealed dozens of needles. We all noped out of there and the band made the venue pay for a hotel change. This is also where you check for bedbugs. I worked night shift in a hotel part-time, and I worked 16 to 24 hours a week for about 2 years. I only had one time that the cops showed unexpected, which was when I picked up a random morning shift. I had no idea they did this, but the hotel shared check-in info with the police. The cops had a warrant for our guest. Apparently, it was just a regular thing that the hotel might have a wanted person staying there, and if that happened, the police would wait at the elevator figuring their guy would come for breakfast. Not a great vacation atmosphere, laughing out loud. It never happened on my night shift because the cops didn't get there until close to 8 a.m. Someone wrote red rum all over the place. Original poster replies. Oh my, I probably would have noped the hell out of there. Come play with us, Danny. Mostly unloaded, 2 rounds, .38 revolver. Did you keep it? Wouldn't you if it was a free .38? So, a loaded revolver. Back in my high school days circa 98 to 02. I worked housekeeping for a hotel where we had lots of musical guests who played a nearby concert venue. Most of the stuff we found was pretty tame. Until one year after Ozfest. I was sent to clean the suite and rooms that a certain shock rocker was using. What we found has stayed with me for years. There was a lot of bondage items that in itself wasn't bad. No, the bad part was the blood on the bonds, the walls, sheets, TV. It was just everywhere. There was also coke residue everywhere. Chains with locks around the toilet. We were torn, wondering should we call the cops. That's how much blood there was. In the end, my managers vetoed that idea. Recently that rocker has had some serious accusations made against him. It makes me sick knowing I seen evidence of stuff when I was younger and couldn't do anything. At the time, he was very popular and is from the state I live in. I'm not sure the police would have done anything, but it's caused me to lose sleep ever since. Yep, Marilyn Manson was and still is pretty gross. I thought the same thing. Not a hotel cleaner myself, but there was a teacher at my high school who was known for talking about her life in class instead of actually teaching. One time she came to my class, and students who'd had her before prompted her to talk about her time working at a hotel in the UK. When she was in her 20s, she went to work as a cleaner in the UK, and near the end of her working experience she walked into a room to clean, saw a sign on the door but ignored it since she couldn't understand English and walked in. She saw a man sitting on a chair, dead. She was so shocked and stayed frozen for a minute until the police arrived. She really liked talking about that experience, and I'm sure everyone in school knew about it. I worked in 2 hotels in college. Both in Daytona, one was on the beach and the other was near the raceway. We had deaths in both hotels while I worked there. Old people who simply passed away. The housekeepers found odd stuff all the time, but my favorite story was about a race car driver's father. His son was a huge name at the time, Winston Cup champion, etc. They were testing for the Daytona 500, couple days before the race. Anyway, the poor old guy had dementia, I think. Their entourage came into the hotel one evening. The father whipped it out and took a piss in the planter in the lobby. There were a lot of people around. The race car driver was so embarrassed. One of the Russian strippers at the club I worked at, her first week, possibly first day, a really old dude got a private lap dance from her. And he effing died during it. Literally. That poor girl. Dude, that's a marketing campaign right there. Natasha, what to die for? Me and my best friend worked housekeeping together when we were 18. I only cleaned rooms for a bit until I got stuck in the laundry part, so I only found some unopened bottles of alcohol and a trash can with a few used condoms. My friend, on the other hand, had to clean a room with blood on the ceiling, throw up in a trash can, and poop smeared all over the bathroom, in the tub, on the toilet, and even some on the ceiling. No one helped her clean it. I had quit already. Embarrassed smiley face. Except a maintenance man helped her get the poop off the ceiling. She quit a little later that week. Sounds like crap hit the fan. Obligatory. This didn't happen to me but to someone else. I study at a hotel school that operates its own hotel. We have first-year students doing the physical work and second-year students acting as managers/supervisors with instructors above them. Once there was a guy who booked a room for a week. He paid for everything in advance, and because this was a simple hotel with no extra amenities, etc., he didn't have to leave a credit card. This man had explicitly requested for nobody to enter the room for the duration of his stay, as he valued his privacy. No problem. He was always very nice to the students and in general a pleasant gentleman. After he left, they inspected the room for cleaning. And, oh boy, that was a scene. The room was covered in jizz and feces. I'm talking on the ceiling, all over the bed and drapes, in the bathroom, it was everywhere. Unfortunately, he came under false identity. Turns out, he pulled that stunt in other small hotels too. He was never caught. The students who were working that week all got maximum grades for their efforts. Crafty situation through and through. Original poster replies. I really hate to be this guy, but he came under false identity is the funniest thing I've seen all day. The employees of the MGM in Las Vegas were tasked with going to the rooms of guests who died in the fire in 1980 to collect their belongings for their families to claim. They found at least twice as much cocaine than they reported. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.